In first place, Amazing as Technicolor Green Quilt by Carol Mollers, Dana Lynch, Mary Heyman, Mary Kay, Cindy Gerber,
Hey TQS family, we are the Amazing Eight. We are at the International Quilt Festival in Houston, and we want to share with you a project that we recently completed and won an award for in Houston. First, we want to introduce ourselves. I'm Mary Kay Runyon. I'm from Germantown, Tennessee, which is outside of Memphis.
And I'm Mary Holman. I'm from Vicksburg, Mississippi.
And I'm going to do two people because one of our members is not here, and that's Bridget Lilja, and she's from Illinois. And I'm Carol Mollers, and I'm from Iowa.
I'm Cindy Neville. I'm from St. Louis.
I'm Wanda Myers. I'm from Shiner, Texas.
Karen Fitzpatrick from Cleveland, Ohio.
Dana Lynch from Olive Branch, Mississippi.
So we wanted to share a couple special stories about this quilt. The first is, this is the third quilt that we've worked on together as a group, and many of you may know we met through the TQS community, which we absolutely love. So we started this project about 2 years ago, and we were out here at Quilt Festival, and we had worked on two quilts as a group, but we're really, we were kind of trying to focus on how do we take it to the next level. And Ricky, thank you again, gave us great advice as a group. Two key things that we hadn't done the first two quilts in the first 2 years is he advised us as a group to figure out what was the agreed upon decision-making process that we would use. And secondly, he recommended as a group that we decide on specific roles and responsibilities. And in my opinion is that without those two things, we would not have successfully gotten this project done. So thank you again for that sage advice, Ricky. Who had the next story?
Well, I was the assembler, and so everybody sent me their pieces, and there are 8 pieces, and it was kind of difficult to put the thing together and keep it round. So that was kind of one of the things that was hard to do, I guess.
I just want to put in something about actually getting the pattern for this. We found online that we wanted to do the Aztec calendar, which is a huge 12-foot diameter rock in Mexico. And there were not any good enough pictures to actually pull our own pattern out, and it would have taken us a year to do. I went online and found a man named Tomas Filsinger, and he had done a line drawing. So I emailed him, and he has actually done research into the background of the symbolism and the colors in this quilt and sent us all the materials. Very, very nice man. And so we followed his recommendations and interpretations as close as possible to make it as authentic as possible. But just finding the pattern for this was a major undertaking in itself.
One of the things that I had to overcome was when I started stitching my piece was that my machine broke, and it was going to take at least 2 months to get it fixed, which I didn't have 2 months. So last year at Festival I went out and bought a new Bernina because I had to get my piece completed.
And I was the quilter for this project, and it was, first of all, it was such an honor to be asked to quilt it, and I loved working with everybody, and I think perhaps I was maybe the most blessed of all because I got to ditch every piece of it, and so I got to think about every piece when I did that, and I got to think about the amazing work that everybody really did with every piece. And so one of the things, they asked if I had any kind of little problems or anything mishap, and I did. When I loaded it on my camera and started the process of quilting it and started rolling it and securing it, when I got to the bottom, I lacked about 8 inches having enough batting. So I don't know, I guess I didn't I guess I didn't measure enough times before I cut. So I lacked about 8 inches, so I only had little strips of batting left. And so I took about 8 or 9 pieces of batting and I pieced it together in all these strips on my machine, and I used a whip stitch and just kind of pieced it all together like a puzzle and made enough batting to finish it. And it turned out fine, I think. I don't think that you can tell at all.
So I wanted to take a minute to again thank Alex and Ricky and Justin and John for starting the TQS community. I think 5 years ago, when we came to know each other through the community and got together for dinner one evening out at festival, and as the story goes, after our second round of margaritas, decided we were going to make a quilt. I don't know that any of us thought at the time that we would have made 3 quilts, and with this quilt gotten a first place ribbon here in Houston. So I would encourage any of you out there that have thought about, gosh, can I do it? Find a couple friends. And we all started at different talent levels, and we have different things that we specialize in, different skills, but we decided we wanted to work together as a team and have a really special quilt that we made together. So if we can do it, I know that you guys could do it too. And jump in and find some friends and give it a shot.
Yes.
This was sectioned off into 8 pieces. We didn't want to do straight lines. We wanted to hide the assembly. So this would be Karen Fitzpatrick's piece. Okay, she did this section right in here. The next section goes from this point down to this point, and there's a seam hidden right here, through here and around here. And that was Mary Holman's piece. The mirror image of that piece is on the other side, same point to point, and that is Wanda Myers' piece. Then in the middle we have Bridget Lilge's piece. Mary Kay Runyon's piece is this circle, and these were assembled as circles within circles. The seam is hidden underneath this applique piece, so you can't see how it was joined. Then Cindy Neville did this ring here, and an applique piecing technique was used, and it is a fine line right next to this red, so you really can't see where the seam is, and it goes all the way around. And everybody was instructed to leave at least 2 inches extra fabric on their pieces when they were sent, so that allowed for fudge factor. So when this, to keep it all flat, this was the fudge factor, and then after it was put together, that was trimmed off. Then the outer ring, well, let me start down here. The next piece that was put on was Dana Lynch's, and she did the 2 serpent heads, and the serpent heads go from this like S or 2 looking shape, kind of up here, over to here, and where that seam joins in with Mary Holman's. And then it goes across the horns here, and then down here and back over here and through there. Okay. I took on the outer circle because that way we had ability to adjust if we needed to by doing one person doing the outer circle. So then the outer circle was put on and joined, and there was, some Y seams here, and then there's some splicing that was done to make it all, there's some things here to make it fit. So it would still continue to be a circle. Same over here, there was some additional, some of these pieces had to be ripped off and readjusted and resized and stuff, and it was able to do that through the birds. And then this was all one piece hooked up through a Y seam down here. And then Ricky Tim's ink dyed extra long lengths of Good Gracious hand-dyed fabrics. We special ordered them so we could reduce the seams in the quilt. So there's only 4 seams in the background. This quilt is 84 by 85, so 1.5 yard lengths. So there's a seam at the top, a seam at the bottom, and a seam on the east and west sides right here. that was all made as a big piece of fabric. It was laid flat on the floor. This was laid over the top of it. It was chalked, and then about 2 inches from that chalk mark was cut out, and then this was put on top, and then it was appliqued onto that piece of fabric with monofilament thread. And then to hide that seam, these 1/4 inch bias strips were put all the way around it, so you don't see how it was joined together. It's all hidden. So that's basically how it was assembled. And then after it was all finished piecing, it was sent to friend Dana Lynch, who lives in Olive Branch, Mississippi. And then she proceeded to do the quilting of the dragon and the stonework all around it. And she drew the design based upon a tattoo design that inspired it. And then from there, she took that drawn design and transferred it to the fabric. And from there, then she took her gamma and quilted it.